Hello, I'm Cullen Hendrix, Senior Fellow at the Payne Institute for International Economics. What will cooperation amongst advanced economies, or AEs, around critical minerals wind up looking like? These minerals range from those with widespread industrial applications spanning various sectors to those with specialized roles in national security and medical contexts. Supply chains for many of these minerals are thin, concentrated in a small number of producing and refining countries, and dominated by China. AEs, including the United States, European Union, United Kingdom, Korea, and Japan, among others, are actively pursuing strategies to de-risk supply chains and enhance resilience via a mixture of unilateral and multilateral policy initiatives. Given the close trading, investment, and security relationships amongst many AEs, as well as shared supply chain vulnerabilities, they could benefit greatly from some degree of coordination on critical mineral policy. I'm going to argue that rather than a single overarching framework emerging, what is more likely to emerge is a critical minerals regime complex, a set of partially overlapping institutions and frameworks governing specific minerals and geographies with different memberships and degrees of coordination between members based on the political and economic incentives different countries face with respect to particular groupings of minerals. To anticipate what AE cooperation might look like, we first need to establish what future geopolitical scenarios the countries are anticipating. All AEs are making significant investments in decarbonizing their energy and transport systems, so they share an expectation of significant growth in future demand for critical minerals. Beyond this structural shift, however, the question becomes, resilient to what? What types and levels of disruptions are AEs planning for in their critical mineral policies? There is a huge difference between building critical mineral supply chain resilience to A, temporary supply shocks due to natural disasters and/or short-term yet disruptive events like strikes and riots in producing countries, B, slow decoupling of the United States, EU, Japan, and Korea from China in specific sectors like semiconductors amid incremental nationalization and/or rising domestic consumption of mineral deposits by producer countries, or C, major conflict between the United States and China, potentially involving third parties. At present, Scenario B seems to dominate thinking, but Scenario C cannot be ruled out. The second set of considerations relate to the diversity of minerals that fall under the designation critical. The term critical minerals is applied to a vast array of materials with different market structures, mixtures of consumer versus national security applications, and implications for economic competition between AEs. We should expect cooperation to de-risk supply chains for these minerals to vary substantially among AEs across these minerals. For some, like those with boutique national security applications and a single source of supply, national security concerns and the benefits of de-risking for military allies should make cooperation relatively more straightforward. For others, where markets are highly segmented and competitiveness concerns are muted, cooperation on critical minerals faces lower barriers but also has less obvious rationales, the case of fissile material and its relation to non-proliferation efforts being a special one. And for those with wide consumer applications and where AE products like batteries and electric vehicles will directly compete with one another in the market, coordination may be weakest. Though ironically, these are the products, like battery minerals, that receive the most media attention. Instead of one coordinating institution to rule them all, we might instead see the emergence of a critical minerals regime complex among AEs. Regime complexes are systems of transnational governance composed of loosely coupled and coordinated sets of institutions providing governance in defined issue areas. We already see some elements of a regime complex forming, with particularly institutional fora selected or created to address specific shared problems. NATO's Energy Security Center of Excellence is tackling supply chain vulnerabilities for hybridizing or fully electrifying military vehicles, while the Mineral Security Partnership appears to be a standard-setting organization to prevent race-to-the-bottom dynamics around investment in emerging and frontier markets among AEs. Whether this regime complex will be equal to the complex task in front of it, however, is an open question.